Hi guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. In today's video we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful Bubu dress. So let's get into the video. Starting with our fabrics, right here I have 3¼ yard of fabrics, and then for my organza I used 3 yards, in which I divided it into 8 strips. So I didn't measure any length whatsoever for the organza. And as you can see, for the organza I went ahead to weave both ends of the organza so that it can be easy for me to sew, so it wouldn't fray while I'm sewing. Okay, so you can decide to do that. Moving on to the cutting of the bubu, right here I have my fabric folded into two and then folded the sides also, so we have a folding of 4, and then my length came up to 58 inches. So on the neckline here, my camera decided not to start filming. I don't know, I had issue with the video that I filmed, it was corrupted. So my neckline width here is 3 inches by 1 inch depth, and here we have about a length of 19 inches. So now that we've already cut the back neckline, which is the 3 by 1 inch, we are going to go ahead to cut the front neckline. And now to cut the front neckline, we are going to be going down by 7.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that with my chalk, and then go ahead and use my ruler to roll that in. You can decide to make your neck depth a little deeper, but I want mine to be a little modest, so that's why I'm using the length of 7.5. So now you're going to go ahead and pull out the fabric at the back. You can see what I'm doing, right? So that we have only the front neckline. So you see I pulled out that fabric a bit so that I can cut, and then I decided to go ahead and pin it so that the fabric doesn't get in between, and then I use my scissors to cut down the 7.5 inch neckline depth. So right now I'm just bringing out the back neckline out to the front, and now what I did here is I just spread out the neckline and folded it into 2, right? And now I'm going to be placing a fabric on fold so that we can cut out the facing of the neckline. So here I have my fabric on fold, and then I'm going to place my main fabric, which is the dress, on fold also, so that we can cut out the facing of the neckline. Right here I'm just going to place it so that it matches, and then I'm going to go ahead and pin it down so that it stays in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors and cut out the neckline. So I'm cutting out the outline of the neckline, and then we'll go ahead and flip it over to the back where we have the facing. So where the facing is facing, so we are going to be flipping it over, and now we are going to cut the outline of the facing. So I didn't necessarily measure it, so I just cut out the spirit leg, but you can see what I'm doing though. I think it's about 2.53 inches is what I cut round. So this is what we have for the facing. So right here I already opened up the neckline so we can place the facing on our dress, right sides facing each other. I already went ahead to notch my facing and my neckline on the dress so that the neckline can match, so that the facing and the fabric on the neckline can match. So right here I'm placing them right side facing each other, and I'm going to go ahead and pin that, and we are going to be sewing about half an inch or 1/8 of an inch round the neckline, and then we'll top stitch on our facing. Now I have joined my facing and my dress together. I've top stitched it, and I also went ahead to use a hemming gum so that the facing can stay in place. Okay, so this is how neat and nice it's looking, really nice. And now we're going to move to adding our ruffles. Okay, so now for the ruffles we're using our organza fabric, right? So both edges of my organza fabric have been woven, so it's easy for me to sew without frizz. I would advise you really do that. Now we are going to go ahead and gather the organza together. You can gather it while sewing or gather it first then sew, however you want to do it, whichever is best for you, that works for you, fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and so I'm just showing you the placement of it, right? On both edges, on both edge of your dress, we are going to be pleating your organza fabric on both ends, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and come back, and I'll show you guys what it's looking like. Right here I already joined my organza fabric to my main fabric, looking all nice and pretty and fluffy. I'm loving it. So this is how good it's looking. Yeah, so I also went ahead to hem the dress, the lower part of the dress on both sides. So I hemmed it after gathering, right? So now we are going to be placing our tape on our shoulder, and we're going to be marking 10 inches. That 10 inches is the space for your sleeve or your armhole. Yeah, so from that 10 inches right there, you can see I just put my pin there so it can mark it, right? And now we are good. From that 10 inches we are going to be going outwards by 7 inches, and you're going to be marking that to the hem of your dress. So that, I'm sorry that the marker I'm using is very similar to the color of the fabric. I didn't have any chalk, sorry, to use on for fabric, so this is the only chalk I had, so bear with me. So now at the end where your fabric end, not where the organza ends, please take note of that. We're marking 7 inches inwards to the center of your fabric, and then we'll mark that 7 inches down to the hem of the dress. That 7 inches, you'll be sewing a line there straight to that 10 inches. I'll show you guys what I mean in a second. I'll show you guys what I did. So we're going to be doing that on both sides of the dress. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you guys. My fabric is quite slippery, so I'm placing 10 inches on the other side, just like the way we did for the other side. And then you mark that 10 inches, go ahead and pin it down so that it stays in place, because this fabric moves a lot. So if you don't pin it down, you're going to have to do it later. So now I'm going to go inwards by 7 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. So I'm just showing you the 7-inch. You don't necessarily have to curve it out the way I did. You can just stop, sew a straight line down to that 10 inches. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to curve it, but if you curve it good and fine, but you're not curving it to the end of the fabric. You're not covering your line straight to the organza like where I'm pointing now. You're not curving. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be stopping at your 10 inches there where we measured 10 inches and pinned. That's where you're going to be stopping. So right here I went ahead to sew on that 7 inches, so you can see where I stopped my sewing, where the seam ended. So that's where yours is going to end, and then I sewed down to the hem of the dress, and this is what it's looking like. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to show you for the other side what the other side is looking like. Yeah, so the 7 inches up to the 10-inch mark. So I'm just showing you guys. Moving on now to the hem of the dress, I folded the dress into 4 again, so I'm just showing you guys that it's into 4, right? And then right on that seam that we made on the side, right? That seam that we made from the 10 inches down towards the hem, you are going to be placing your tape on it, and then you'll be marking 20 inches. So we are going to be losing up those seam from 1 to 20, and that is for leg movements. Okay, that is for leg movements. Because if you sew it to the hem of your dress like that, it's going to be quite restrictive. So it's nice that you have that leg movement allowance, and it's actually really pretty. So I loved it that way. But if you want, you can leave your 7 inches to the hem like that, but then I preferred it a little loose at the towards the end of the dress. So guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you found this video really helpful. I'll see you guys in my next video. Please do make sure to subscribe, like and share. Bye bye.